Hi guys, and welcome to today's video. Today I've got a fun one because I'm going to be sharing exactly what I've been doing on my face as far as base, so as far as foundation, concealer, powder goes, in order to make sure that everything stays on my face and it lasts all day long. So let's get right into it. Before anything, of course, I take care of skincare. So that's moisturizer, that's eye cream, and also sunscreen. Very, very important. So I apply that first thing in the morning. Now that everything has kind of set on the skin for a little bit, I'm ready to go. I don't like going in directly into makeup right after moisturizing. I wait for the products to sink into the skin. Otherwise, I find that not only do they not sink into the skin, but they also affect my makeup. So very important to just do your skincare like a good 15 minutes before you plan on sitting down and doing your makeup, or at least in my experience, that's what works best. So before getting started, of course, primer. The one that I have actually been in love with ever since I purchased it, because as you guys saw a few months back, if you watched my video where I'm doing like a shop my stash, there was zero in my stash, okay? I got rid of so much when I was doing the transition from everything to cruelty-free. A lot of room for repurchasing, and this is one that I purchased first time using it, and I absolutely love this primer. It's called the Airbrush Primer from Hourglass. It leaves your skin and your face feeling like it's airbrushed. Everything just feels really nice and smooth. It leaves behind this really lovely, soft texture. It does not feel like silicone. It doesn't feel slick. It doesn't feel overly slick or sticky. It just feels really nice and smooth. I absolutely love applying foundation on top of this because you do start off with like that really nice airbrush look to begin with. So we're gonna take care of that. I do 1.5 pumps, and I usually just apply it with my fingers. It goes on wet, and before you know it, it feels really nice and smooth. And I also apply this under the eyes just to smooth out that area. I'm telling you, once it dries down, it feels so nice and soft. Definitely blurs out any imperfections. So now that the primer is set, let's move on to color correcting the under eye area. The way that I prep my under eye area, I do it one of two ways. I either use the primer, as you guys saw me use right now, or in this particular primer, I can't use any other primer, or I haven't run into another primer that acts the same way as this one when it comes to the under eye area. If I'm not using this primer, then I'm using the Milani eyeshadow primer, and that is supposed to go on the lids, but I use it underneath the eyes too, and it works really, really well as far as how everything lies on top of it. It gives you this really nice smooth surface to work with underneath the eyes, so you don't see as much cracking, you don't see as much like dryness or just, you know, settling into fine lines, all that great stuff. Now for color corrector, I'm using my Becca and Smashbox Under Eye Brightening Corrector. This one's in the shade medium. If I'm not using this, then I'm using my Beauty Pie Corrector or my Sigma Corrector, which has been amazing. This one it was on the desk. It was right here in front of me, so I'm gonna grab this. And I mainly concentrate the color corrector right here. I'll drag a little bit of it out here, but the less product under the eyes, the better it's going to look. Next for foundation, I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Foundation. This has been such a good foundation for like an everyday wear, but it does provide more coverage than just medium. I want to say it's closer to full, to be quite honest. So it is high-end coverage. If you're not looking for high-end coverage, if you're looking for something a little bit more natural, definitely look into the Kosas one or the LYS. Those are amazing. They're amazing foundations, and they are very, very light. They look very natural on the skin. This one provides a little bit more coverage than that, but it still looks really nice and natural. So I just do 1 pump of this. I use the shade 6 Neutral. All right, and then I'm just taking my damp beauty blender and just blending it into the skin. I've been going back and forth between my beauty blender and my multitasker brush from Sigma Beauty. I really love them both. I love the way that they apply makeup, but all of my multitasker brushes are currently dirty. So we're gonna be using the beauty blender today. And you see that? It's beautiful, beautiful finish, beautiful coverage. It doesn't feel heavy. It doesn't look like too much, especially like look at the before and look at the after. Still looks like skin. It's just your skin, but better, right? Oh, I think It Cosmetics has something like that. Never mind. It's Beautiful Skin. It really is. It looks beautiful. Next, setting spray. We're not done with makeup yet. We haven't applied concealer. That's coming next, but I love using a setting spray before finishing everything off and applying a little bit more at the end. I find that when I use this in between applying my makeup, it really sets everything in place in between the steps so that way everything's getting locked before you move on to the next step, and then before you move on to the next step. You can put this in between any step that you really want, whether it be before foundation and before primer, or after foundation, after primer, and then at the end of your makeup routine. Whatever it is, you can play around with it and just see what works best for you. But remember that setting spray isn't only for the end. You can use it in between in order to help everything stay locked into place. And then that way you're not just relying on whatever you apply at the end to hold it all together, because I find that sometimes that's just definitely not enough, you know? This particular setting spray is from Hourglass. It is their Veil Soft Focus setting spray. I find that this one is not drying on my skin, so I don't feel like everything is like too tight or not moisturized. It's just like, you know, sucked out all the moisture, because I find that some setting sprays do that. The Charlotte Tilbury one does that for me. I applied it, I tried it in different ways, and that one I truly can only use at the end of my makeup routine. If I try to incorporate it in between, it just feels too dry. So I don't use that one. I either use this one. I also really like my Tarte Stay Spray to apply in between. This one I just had in front of me, so that's what we're using. And I just do 3 pumps. I love the mist. Like, it's so fine that it doesn't disrupt anything going on. And then you can always go back with your beauty blender and just make sure that the setting spray is good to go. Next comes concealer, and of course I'm going to be using my Tarte Shape Tape since I am wearing my Becca corrector underneath. I've absolutely loved this combination of corrector and concealer for literally years now. I just find that they pair really well. The Becca corrector is very emollient, it's hydrating, it creates a really nice solid barrier for this to sit on top of and not look excessively dry. Also, you don't want to use a whole lot. You don't want to use a ton of the Tarte Shape Tape. Not only do you not need it because it is so high in coverage, but if you use more, it's gonna look more dry. The more you use, the drier it looks. So I try to keep it to a minimum. I use the shade Medium Honey, and I also have been adding Light Medium Honey onto it just because I feel like at the current moment, Medium Honey is just a little too deep, and so I like to lighten the shade a little tiny bit. So just applying a little bit right here and a little right there, here and here. And this is the Medium Honey, which will dry down a bit deeper. So this is Light Medium Honey, and I just go a little bit over with the Light Medium Honey. Next, I'm going to take my setting spray and I'm going to apply it onto my damp beauty blender. I also do this with my concealer brushes. I just don't have any clean right now. I just spray them with a little bit of setting spray, and that's how I blend out the concealer underneath the eyes. So not only are you blending it out, but you're also helping it lock into place. So just very lightly blending this out. So now that I'm done with the concealer, I always go back in order to set just kind of here along the T-zone and a little bit underneath the eyes, and of course here along the smile lines. I always set, especially the forehead, because I tend to get pretty oily along the T-zone, and I don't want to start off my day looking oily, you know what I mean? Like if I get there by the end of the day, that's okay, but straight off the bat, I like to tone it down. So for setting, I have been loving my translucent One Size setting powder. It is the best setting powder I think I've ever tried. It not only sets everything, but it makes everything appear really nice and smooth, and it doesn't look excessively dry. So I absolutely love this. So I'm just taking a little bit of this in order to set here along the forehead. You see that? And it doesn't add like that crazy white cast along the face. I'm just taking it here along my smile lines, sides of my nose. And I always do a smaller brush for the under eye area. This is the tapered highlighter brush from Sigma Beauty. It's their F35. Just patting off the excess. You don't need a lot. You really, really don't. And just setting everything into place. So now let me zoom you guys in so that you can get a good look around the face. All right, so here's the under eye area. Again, doesn't appear excessively dry to me. This is the right side of my face. Everything still looks like skin, only better. And this is the left side of my face with the exact same situation. Here's the forehead. And of course, around the mouth. And that pretty much completes it. The last thing that I do right before calling it done is, well, sometimes, I don't do it always, but I did do it today. I apply a little bit of Well Rested underneath the eyes. It is this eye brightener from Bare Minerals. Absolutely love this stuff, and I truly hope they never discontinue it because it just gives you that highlighted look, but without adding too much underneath the eyes, without it looking heavy or dry or cakey or anything like that. So apply a little bit of that underneath the eyes. I finish it off with a little bit more setting spray, and I am good to go. Truly, the setting spray, not only do the products all work well together for me like this, but the setting spray and the primer, those are the two things that you can absolutely play around with. You don't necessarily have to have these two, although personally, I love these. You don't necessarily need these in order to achieve a similar result. Try playing with your setting spray, doing it in between your makeup routine, not just at the end. Of course, try playing with your primer, bring it all the way up to the under eye area, not just, around the face and skip the under eye. Just, play with what you have, give it a try, let me know what you think, and yeah, that's it. That completes it for today. Thank you all so much for watching. I truly hope that you enjoyed today's video and that you found it helpful. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss out on future videos, future makeup reviews. I've got all sorts of stuff coming up. I also want to incorporate more like lifestyle into my channel. I want to share other things, not just makeup, of course, centered around makeup, but other stuff as well. Let me know what you think about that. Also, don't forget to follow me over on Instagram if you haven't done so already. I absolutely love to interact with you guys over there, and I've been a little bit more active as far as Reels goes, so make sure you follow me over there if you haven't done so already. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much for watching once again. Take care, and I will see you in my next video. Mwah! Bye.